If you're looking for some new ways to use up that ground beef, you're in the right place. And I try to find recipes that are easy to make and ones I think your family will actually enjoy. Hey y'all, I'm Valerie and welcome to my kitchen. In today's video, I'm sharing 5 new ground beef recipes, ground beef dinner recipes that you're gonna wanna make again and again. Okay y'all, let's get started. This taco pierogi casserole is definitely one you do not wanna miss out on. So to make it, you're gonna brown up 1 pound of ground beef along with half a diced onion. And I just let it cook until that ground beef was completely cooked through. And if you've got a lot of grease in there, you can drain it. But now I'm adding in 1 packet of taco seasoning and half a cup of water. You're just gonna stir it and let it continue to cook for about 5 more minutes. That'll give it a second to thicken up a bit. Now I'm adding in 1 can of cream of chicken soup, 8 ounces of Velveeta melting cheese, and I cut mine into cubes, that way it melts faster. And as always, when I can, I use the Great Value brand. And you're also going to add in 1.5 cups of your favorite salsa. Now you're going to stir it around and let it continue to cook until that cheese is completely melted. Now these were not in the recipe, but I wanted to take it up a notch, so I added in 1 can of drained and rinsed pinto beans and 1 can of drained corn. Now you can add those like I did, or you can leave them out and it'll still be delicious. Now we're going to head over to the counter and you're going to need a 9x13 baking dish. I'm using 2 16-ounce boxes of pierogies, or you can grab a 32-ounce family size bag. I had ran in Aldi and this is all they had. I will say I do prefer the mini pierogies though, so if you can find those, then grab them. Now we're going to add in that cheesy ground beef mixture that we just made up. And I just poured all mine on top, and then I just used a spoon to kind of work that mixture down into the pierogies, and then I started trying to flip them over. It don't have to be perfect though, just try to make sure you get some of that mixture all over those pierogies. Now I'm topping all that with a cup, or maybe a little more, of shredded cheddar cheese. And you can use any cheese you like here. Now this is going into the oven to bake at 350 for 30 minutes, and I let mine go for 40. You just want to let it cook until everything is completely heated through and the top is golden brown. And I just topped mine with sour cream and shredded cheddar cheese. You could also top it with some guacamole. I wish I had some. You could serve it alongside a side salad or Spanish rice. Or you can eat it just like this and it'll be absolutely delicious. I'm telling you, this was one of our favorites. Beef egg roll in a bowl was exactly what I was in the mood for this day, so that's what I made. I started out by browning up 1 pound of ground beef in a large skillet. And I did not drain that. I added in 1 teaspoon, or maybe like 2 teaspoons, of minced garlic. I let it cook for about 30 seconds or so. And you can add in a 14-ounce bag of coleslaw mix. But I shredded up a head of cabbage I had in the refrigerator. I also added in a little bit of shredded carrots. And you're going to add 1/4 cup of soy sauce, some onion powder, garlic powder, and 1 teaspoon of ground ginger. By the way, if you're new, I would really love to have you here. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button down below. That way you get notified of all my future videos. Okay, and that was 2 teaspoons of sriracha that I just added in there. Now you're going to give all that a really good stir and let it saute until that cabbage gets as tender as you want it to be. And if you need to add a tiny bit of water to help that, you can. And when that cabbage is tender, you're going to make a little hole in the middle and add in 1 beaten egg. And I just scrambled it until it was done. And at that point, you can go ahead and mix everything together. I've made egg roll in a bowl a lot, but I've never added in a scrambled egg, and I am so glad I did. Now when everything's done, you're just going to drizzle over about a tablespoon of sesame oil and a couple tablespoons of green onion. If you don't care for green onion, you can leave those out, but I definitely wouldn't skip out on the sesame oil. I'm not quite sure what it is, but it's really not egg roll in a bowl without that sesame oil. It just takes it to another level, which I love. Oh, and that egg too, that really kicked it up a notch. This was so good, but I will say the recipe says it serves 4. I'm gonna say more like 2. That being said, I could eat this whole entire recipe by myself. This cheesy ground beef stroganoff was a winner. In a large skillet, you're going to brown up 1 pound of ground beef along with half a finely diced onion. And as you can see here, I did not finely dice my onion. It turned out just fine though. When that's done though, you're going to go ahead and add salt and pepper to taste, along with 1 teaspoon of minced onion. Then stir that around and let it continue to cook for about a minute or so. Now you're going to make a little hole in the middle there and add 3 tablespoons of butter. And when that's melted, you can go ahead and add in 3 tablespoons of flour. Then whisk that and let it continue to cook for about 2 minutes until no dry flour remains. And you cook that flour taste out. Then you're going to slowly add in 2.5 cups of beef broth. So add a little and then stir and then add the rest until it is all well combined. You're going to bring that mixture to a boil and then reduce it to a simmer. Then add in a tablespoon of Dijon mustard, 3/4 cup of sour cream, and a teaspoon of Worcestershire sauce. Now if you don't have Worcestershire sauce, you can sub it out for soy sauce. You're also going to sprinkle in 1 cup of shredded cheddar cheese. And you're going to let this continue to simmer while we cook up the pasta. And I'm using 8 ounces of egg noodles. And you're going to cook them according to the directions on the back of the package, but 1 minute shy of al dente. That way the noodles don't end up overcooked. Okay, back to that creamy ground beef mixture. I added about 1/2 can of canned peas to that. But if you don't like peas, you can leave them out and it'll be just fine. Now you can go ahead and add in that cooked and drained pasta. Then stir it until everything is well combined. Now all that's left to do is top it with 1 cup of shredded cheddar cheese, let it melt, and then this dinner is ready to serve. Y'all, this was delicious, and I know cheese is not normally in beef stroganoff, but it just added so much extra flavor. Oh, and you could also add in some sauteed mushrooms to this. That would be so good. This was creamy and cheesy and definitely something that we'll be making again. If you're craving a good old burger, you have to try these $1 million burgers. In my large bowl here, I have 1 pound of ground beef. I added 1 tablespoon of minced onion to that, along with 1 teaspoon of salt and 1/2 teaspoon of pepper. Then I added in 3 tablespoons of barbecue sauce and 1 beaten egg. And yes, you heard me right, 1 beaten egg. Now you're just going to get in there with your hands and mix it until it's well combined. And I know it gets a little messy, but your hands are the best tool here. I just grabbed a cutting board to lay these on. And you're going to divide that mixture into 3 hamburger patties. Now we're going to head on over to the stovetop. I've got my skillet heated up with a tiny bit of oil, and I'm just laying in those burgers. And I let mine cook for about 5 or 6 minutes, and then I flipped them over and let them continue to cook for about 5 or 6 minutes on the other side until they were cooked to the way I like them. Oh, and if you'd rather make these outside on the grill, go ahead and do that. I'm sure that would make them even better. Oh, and when these are done, I topped each one with a slice of provolone cheese. But you could also use cheddar if you prefer. Or you can leave the cheese out completely. We just always add provolone to our burgers. Now these are done and they are ready to serve. And you can add any burger toppings you want to these. I just did lettuce, ketchup, and mayonnaise. Oh, and I threw some frozen French fries in the air fryer and made some baked beans to go on the side. Y'all, these were delicious. They were so good. Now, adding the egg acts as a binder, but it also adds a richness that you have got to try. This beefy Rica-A-Roni casserole comes together fast. I'm going to start out by cooking up a 6.8 ounce box of beef Rica-A-Roni, just according to the directions on the back of the box. I added some butter to the pot and I set that seasoning packet to the side and then went ahead and added that rice. And I let it saute until that Rica-A-Roni was golden brown. Then you can go ahead and add in that seasoning packet that came in the box. I could not get that stuff to come out. Oh, and you're also going to add in the water that it calls for on the back of the box. You're going to stir it and then let that mixture come to a boil. Then you're going to cover it and let it cook until that rice is tender and it's absorbed all of that liquid. Now over to a separate large skillet, I have 1 pound of ground beef along with 1 diced onion. That was a small diced onion. I just broke that up and let it cook until that ground beef was completely cooked through. Then you're going to add in 1 can of cream of mushroom soup and also that cooked beef Rica-A-Roni. Now stir it until it's well combined. Now we're going to head over to the counter with it so we can add it to the casserole dish. I'm using a 9x13 baking dish, and you do want to spray it with nonstick spray. I'm using avocado oil spray here, but use what you have. Now you can go ahead and add in that Rica-A-Roni mixture. Now spread it out kind of evenly here, and then we're going to top it with 1 cup of shredded cheddar cheese. And I will not judge you here, use however much you like. And over the top of that cheese, we're going to add on a 6 ounce package of French fried onions. Now this is going into the oven to bake at 350 for 20 to 25 minutes. This was really good. Now it wasn't my absolute favorite, but it was still really good and the rest of the family absolutely loved it. In fact, they devoured it. And I just served it with some whole green beans on the side, or you could do a side salad. But it was easy to put together, and I'm telling you, my family is already asking me to make it again. I really hope you enjoyed this video. You may also like these. Don't forget to subscribe down below for more easy recipes, and I will see you in the next one.